What's going on, students? It's Devlin Cassidy, aka the Scholar, and I'm back and better than ever. But wanted to give you guys a little taste of what currently I'm enjoying a lot in Premium right now. And I've been playing a lot of Crest Luard. I picked up this deck after I moved to Northern Virginia and just getting life set up with a new job and everything. So I wanted to take my crack at Shadow Paladin now that stable income's a good thing and Shadow Paladin's a more expensive clan. But this is the best way I think you can play Luard for sure right now. So I hope that you guys enjoy the profile, and feel free to leave me comments or suggestions of what you think for your Luard builds. But without further ado, yeah, let's get started into it. So of course your two grade zeros like that away in your starters are your root, because you have to ride root for knees is to give you the crest, and then Vicro is searchable from the main. It's really good counter charge for the deck. So just having a searchable way to countercharge every turn you need it after it dies off a ritual effect is really nice. Plus it gives you soul, which sometimes comes up. So both are really good. Both are mainstays. I think you need to be playing both of these. So that's it for kind of like your starter grade zeros. For, of course, the crest things, you have to play 4 of Dragheart Luard, the G version, just because now the V and the crest are choice restricted, so you don't have a crazy necessarily ride up turn. But this card is really good. It helps you synergize with the crest really well, just because what the crest lets you do is that if you don't pay the cost for stride, you get to recycle a crit from your drop zone back into the deck. And his ability at Ritual 3 at the start of your ride phase, so before you ride, you can put 2 normal units back to the bottom of the deck. So this helps you recycle your Vicros and other grade 1s and other tech cards in the deck back into your deck, and then you get to stride without paying the cost, which then fulfills the skill for the crest to let you tuck back a crit. So it's really, really good. This card is insane. The fact that you can just be netting positive to deck every turn is really, really good. That's why I really like Dragheart over Dragfall kind of right now, just because like Dragfall is a 1-for-1 card. You have to do a lot of different things, and actually Dragfall's effect is a substitute cost for stride. Since it says for the cost of stride, this says without. So actually, if you're on Dragfall, you don't get the crest ability to tuck back a card or tuck a crit back into deck. So just be wary of that. So that's why I like just maximizing Dragheart, being able to put back the crit. That's the defensive draw card that we got out of History Collection's broken. So yeah, we wanna do that as much as possible. And then his on stride effect too is insane. On stride, you CB1, kill a rear guard, then you get to call 2 grade 1 or less cards from deck. So most of the time you're grabbing double Owl. So this way you're saying like, hey, every turn I'm drawing 2 cards. So you really get to mass up hand really well. So yeah, this card is just really insane. I think that this is the correct card to play and not Dragfall if you are playing Crest Luard, just because you can't obviously play V Dragheart. But yeah, G Dragheart all the way for me for my Luard builds for sure. And then to round out the grade 3s, the grade 3/grade 1 Ildana. This card's crazy. Just because you're playing a lot of weird ratios, you'll see in the grade 2 lineup, I'm pretty greedy. You'll see that this Ildana helps you search to actually be able to correctly ride into your Dragheart. And you really want to do that because missing Dragheart sucks, and this also thins out your deck. So this discards itself, putting a grade 1 in the drop zone, increasing your ritual count because it's counted as a grade 1 and drop. And then you get to look at the top 10 cards. And then if you reveal 2 grade 1s, which you're playing a very high grade 1 count, so you most likely will, you get to add any card, grade 2 or greater cards from among the 10 you revealed into your hand. And so it's highly likely that you reveal 2 grade 1s and a Dragheart, so you just add the Dragheart to your hand. So this card is really, really useful, really, really impactful. And then also it's nice to be able to be like on attack, CB1, kill 2 rear guards, and you get to draw cards. And so if you're killing Belials, you get to draw more. So Ildana is really, really, really good. Don't sleep on that card. For the grade 2s, of course, we got to play for the Crucerad. Not only is this your replacement for Dagda now in Luard, unfortunately just only calls 1. It's also your ride fixer, so you can search for knees, so that way you can appropriately ride into the crest. So you have to be playing this card, unfortunately, even though Dagda in theory is a little bit better because Dagda calls 2 and boosts your ritual count semi-faster. The fact that this just gets to search for the ride fixer is good, and it just calls a grade 1 when it's boosted on swing. CB1 you call it, so there's an appropriate call target that we play in the grade 1 slot for it. So that's why that is there. And then we are, of course, playing the Blaster Dark and the Dom Hood package. This is just to ensure your grade 2 ride. You really just want to be able to ensure that you're not having to G-assist. So if you open the main plus knees, you go ride knees, call Nemain tap to search Dom Hood, Dom Hood's effect, Soul Blast 1, kill it, to add the Blaster Dark from your deck to your hand. So then you have the guaranteed grade 2 ride for next turn. So that way you are just guaranteeing your rides. So you want to be able to do that. And then the last 2 slots I actually have for the grade 2s, one Fall Dive Eagle. This card is crazy. The fact that this is an intercepting PG on a rearguard swing is broken. Actually really good in the Fenrir matchup. Sometimes it's like, if you're expecting to play Fenrir Loop, sometimes you may have to like play 2 of this card, because this card is really good in that deck. Just being able to go no and no into their big OT stack swing off the Valorant is really important. But then Maple, though, is also really good in the control matchups, really just kind of depending on what your meta is. Against Narukami, against Link Joker, you want to have your board bid cleared. So this is a way to where, like, when you stride, you can get the on-stride effect of Luard still with having your board bleeding cleared. If this is just chilling and drop, on-stride, this comes out, then you kill it off Luard's skill and go call 2 from the deck. So just really, really easy ways to enable that there. So this is why these are my tech slots, but these have some flexibility in case you want to change the deck list to suit a certain meta, depending on your locals for sure. Going on to the most important part of the deck, though, the grade 1s, I'd say. 4 knees, this gets you your Crest, which we'll just go over the Crest here. For those that don't know what these Crests do, and just started picking up Premium and have not played Standard. This card says for every face-up card in your G-Zone, your front row gets plus 5k. And so that scales, obviously. And then it forces all of my Luards to be the only thing that I can ride at grade 3. And then that all of the Luard's original power become 13k. So as you guys saw in the G Luard, that it's an 11k base, it becomes 13. So that way I reached regular standard numbers as well as force numbers for those that played during the V series. And then, of course, if at the end of your turn, if you strode without paying the cost, you can choose a critical trigger from your drop and put it on the bottom of your deck. So really, really good card. Just impeccable in terms of making you have a really good grind game. And so Knees just enables that. And of course, you want to play 4 copies because you need to ride this card as your first ride. So really, really important there. The next most important card in the grade 1 slot is Nemain. This just will boost your ritual count, being able to rip copies of her out of deck just to have more grade 1s to kill or call over, just to feed your drop zone of more grade 1s, or search Dom Hood to guaranteed ride, or be able to find Fall Dive Eagle, because Fall Dive Eagle is a 5k. It's just insane. So this is, this is part of your engine. So if you open this plus Knees, like you're golden, or this plus a way to find Knees, or Knees and a way to find this card's just so insane. So please do not sleep on the main. You need to be playing for this card. This card saves you from having to G assist and all these other things, and plus it's a 10k shield, so we do appreciate that, just because it makes some of our G guards a little bit better. And then on to the last fora for grade 1s that we play in the deck. I'm playing 4 copies of Ezra's. This card is insane. Do not sleep on this card. This is still one of the best PGs in the game. Ritual 3, you can choose a rear guard and a copy of herself. You kill the rear guard and you put the copy of herself to the bottom of your deck, and then you add this copy to your hand. If you wanted to, also, you have the ability to play a 3-1 split of the D series Ezra's, because it is the exact same name. I just like playing 4 of the regular because it's just the consistency to always have the loop 2 PGs back. But the reason the D series could be good is because if you play Flumnock, or not Flumnock, but I can't even remember the card's name, Bronak. If you G-Guard and you find Bronak off the top, the D-Series Ezra's will trigger. This one won't, because this has to be called from hand to get the PG effect. So just keep that in mind, depending on what your playstyle is. Both, I feel, are very acceptable. But I just like having the consistency of just always having the ability to loop the PGs back to hand. So if you have 4 in drop, you're going to have 2 in hand by the end of the turn. So it's just really, really, really strong. Being able to guard in pairs of these to continue. The always having a PG live is just very, very strong, especially for this deck, since it really likes to go and push the late game to kill. So that's what we want, just because our Crest scaling will be so high. Of course, 2 Hanali. This is still Hanali format. Yeah, and until this changes, I think this is you're kind of forced to play 2. I could see a future where like we become a little less dependent on Hanali, and this becomes like maybe a mist off or something just to control hand sizes. Because going into a Morfessa turn with somebody forced to have 8 cards is pretty disgusting. So that may be in the future, but for now, it's Hanalingus till I die. And then a new card for Shadows. For those that don't know, Credilad is broken. So this kind of enables us to play semi like Hellheart 8, which is really cool. I really like this card. Just because you have the ability to G-Guard with it. It's a grade 1, so when you're discarding it for G-Guard, you automatically have it for its ritual count. So that's really good. And it just helps you establish, getting more cards face up in the G zone. If you open like both of these in a heal and you G-Guard when you going first and you go into a Morfessa, that's plus 45k to your front row. And that's very hard to deal with. Additionally, too, she also has a really good skill of that if she is put to the Guardian Circle, you can remove a heal from your drop, choose 2 of your grade 1 rear guards, they get plus 5k shield, and they can intercept from the back row. And that when they intercept and when they're retired from Guardian Circle, they come back to your hand. So really broken. So if you have like one in hand and you want to search the other one out, just to be able to guard and then G-Guard and do some trick plays. These are also searchable off in the main because these are 5Ks. So this card's crazy. If we had like more main deck slots in Vanguard, I'd be playing 4 of this. This card is absolutely bonkers. But for now, you can only really play 2 just because deck space is a little tight. Just because of, Hanali being forced to kind of be a 2-of because of the format and different things of that nature. But yeah, Credilad's absolutely crazy. Definitely play her if you have access to her. And for the final grade 1, Karen. Shout out Andrew Kondrick, my former teammate. He put me on this card just because he's really accurate in saying that the Fumnock, or not the Fumnock, bro, I'm mixing up all of them today. The Vicro gets stuck in Soul a lot. So if you're not like G-guarding or you're not sequencing it where you're going like Dragobus, Soul Blast that out, it gets stuck in Soul from time to time. So when you're going with the grade 2 Ride Fixer, attacking with the grade 2 Ride Fixer, calling the Karen out from deck, Soul Blasting one to countercharge to refund the cost of the grade 2 Ride Fixer on swing, and then getting the Vicro out is huge, and then being able to G-Guard this with a Jelly Dough and just put it to the Guardian Circle, then have the Vicro and this 2 tucked back to the bottom of the deck the following turn to have your countercharge still live is like really insane. So Karen's definitely really good. It really sucks when this card goes into the damage zone, so just be wary of that this is your only real second way of countercharging inside the deck. But then going on into the triggers, I'm just going to show them all out here just because I'm a very big guy for ratio now. So we will go with all the G triggers, and then we'll talk about the modern triggers here. So as you guys see, 5 stands. You want to be playing 5 stands. Stands are still the win con for this deck. Hitting double stand off Morfessa or having a way to force multi-attack after your Morfessa swings is really important. So just being able to restand both lanes and force more pressure just because of the crit is huge. It's why I play Arcer over another Belial. Plus there sometimes comes up, just depending on how much you're drawing and things, that since the Belial returns at the end of the turn, there's sometimes where you need to return a card to deck so that way you just don't potentially deck out. And so that's why I prefer playing the Arcer, because if you just crack the Arcer off of Ezra's, it just shuffles itself back immediately into the deck. So that's really important too, just being able to immediately get a stand back if you've like damage checked a few of these. Plus Arcer also acts as an additional rear guard in itself for cost. So there's times where you're for Krautkroc that this just will pay for the skill to force your opponent to retire more. So just being able to commit like 1 card from hand or like call 1 card out and then it fulfill 2 is really good. So I really like this tech over playing the 4th Belial. But if you really don't want to play the 5th stand, just playing the 4th Belial is like absolutely fine, or playing the 4th of the Kafar. But I really like the stand, just being able to ensure that I have the multi-attack in the late game for Morfessa. So just keep that in mind as you're playing. Of course, Belial, best trigger in the game. Luard has just such a good card quality. Like, shout out back to the NG era when this card used to be like $20. because it's Ritual 3. At the end of the turn that it's in drop, if you have a Vanguard with Luard as its card name, you can take this card and put it onto the bottom of your deck. So what essentially the Crest does is the Crest lets these crits operate as Belial Owls, except it's only one at a time. It's not like, oh, I get to shove 4 back. But the fact that they made the Crest reminiscent of Belial Owl just shows you how powerful this card is. And also that when it's retired from rearguard for the cost or effect of your cards, if you have a Vanguard with Luard in its card name, you draw a card. So that's what I'm saying is like you go +2 off the on stride with Luard, like really, really good. So definitely want to play these. But as you guys see, I am playing 7 triggers that only give you 5k. So, or 8 triggers actually that only give you 5k. So you're a little bit weak on the defensive side. So we still have to kind of play Kafar, just because even though it doesn't give you soul because you were not playing Claret, the defensive draw is crazy. The 10k is crazy. The 15k shield is also really good. And the fact that you can recycle them off the Crest is very important. So this would be the best card I'd feel to play out of the crits, just because you don't care about necessarily having a lot of soul. Your Vicro fulfills that condition. Also, additionally, like you're already paying free stride, so you don't need the stride assist crit. So this is just the best value because defensive draw and offensive crit pressure is really insane. Then 4 of the Heal Guardian, just because our early game is very weak, so we want to just be able to stabilize. Plus, we have enough counter charging and resource management and ways to play under like no CB that we really don't need any of the counter charge heal. Plus, binding kind of sucks because Narukami's a really good like mid-meta pick right now, and I just would prefer not to give them additional cards since Narukami's already a really hard matchup for us. I would not like to accidentally just help them scale their thresholds higher. And then, of course, the purple OT. This card's crazy on Morfessa, just being able to draw, heal, call a card, mid-battle, give it 100 million with the Morfessa guard restrict is insane, so that's why we play the purple OT. But the fact that it's just a guaranteed heal too is just really, really good. So I think it's the best card quality. You don't need to play Obaria too, just because it doesn't force you to kind of be greedy, be like, oh, well, if I hit the trigger, then I can swing twice. Or not the Obaria, but the Valor now, the red OT. So yeah, just the purple one's way better for just guaranteeing your attack extension. Of course, the Crest, this stuff, as you guys can see, no markers because we're not playing anything that generates a marker, but we have that. So for their G-Zone, of course, Harmonics, it's a staple. You got to be playing this card. This card has been reprinted. This card is no longer super expensive. This card is only like 30 bucks. It's a staple. You can transfer it between decks. We'll just say though, we'll mention this throughout the next of my profiles, just so that way you guys can understand it. For Hellheart 8, since that deck is super prevalent right now, this card does not count as a Crate Elemental for tier, because there is no Crate Elemental distinction in this text box. Just know that, because tier checks for Crate Elementals face up. It's not a Crate Elemental. It just has no clan distinction. So just be wary of that. As I've heard, that's been ruled recently in a few official tournaments by head judges. So just so that way you're not getting scammed, just ensure that your opponent knows that this is not a Crate Elemental in the Hellheart 8 matchup. So they have to either flip something different or they get cheesed. So that's that. Morfessa, I've talked about this card enough to have to kind of explain what it does. Morfessa is insane. So what she does is act, counterblast 1, flip a card face up in your G-Zone, and retire 2 rear guards. You draw 2 cards, and then you regard trigger units in your drop zone as grade 1. So she helps you speed up your ritual count if you've been G-guarding, if you've been doing different stuff like that. Those triggers in your drop zone are going to be like, hey, we're grade 1s now. So we can hit the threshold for her continuous ability, which is Ritual 10. All your front row units gives plus 15k in a crit, and your opponent has to guard with 2 or more cards from hand if they guard from hand at the same time. So it's forcing a guard restrict. This was like one of the most broken cards to come out like years ago. It's really crazy to see like the quality that Vanguard cards have taken in the 5-year gap in premium, because this used to be really unfair. Now this is kind of looked at as a fair card, but to show you it's still relevant, that this is still the best closer that Shadow Paladin has. So yeah, we love Morfessa for that reason. So just being able to set up the grade 2 extender, a rear guard, being able to attack 3 times, swing Morfessa, hit double stand for a total of 6 swings. That's asking you for 12 cards if 2 crit will kill you. So that's really, really good for Morfessa. Going into the next one, we have 4 copies of Drag Abyss. Dragobus is insane. This is how we play while being damage denied, which is really important for all the loop decks. The loop decks will not give us a counterblast. So being able to play under a threshold where you're not going to be given damage is really important. So this just lets us thin our deck out against Hellheart 8 to hopefully hit those triggers, so that we can live their Hellheart 8 turn. But also he says that Soul Blast 1, you choose a copy of himself and flip him face up. That's why we have to play the 4, because you only get 2 activations of this. You retire a rear guard, and then you choose up to 2 grade 1s from your deck, and you call them to separate rear guard, and then you shuffle your deck, and if you call 2 units with the ritual ability, you get to kill one of your opponent's rear guards. So pretty much the only grade 1 ritual card we have are the Ezras. So if you call double Ezras, you get to kill something, which sometimes comes up. Maybe that's the play, and then you have like 2 of the Cursed Eye Raven, then you call both over, and then you send the Cursed Eye Raven back to deck, and then you have like fodder now to call rested off the Cursed Eye Raven to add those Ezras to hand. So there are some small plays you can do, but also it's GB3, is that for every 4 grade 1s you have in your drop zone, you give your front row 10k in that stack. So if you have 8, you get 20 on top of the Crest power. So you can get really thick lanes if for whatever reason that like you're getting damage denied and you don't want to go into Morfessa to push. You can push with this and get some really ridiculous numbers in like the mid game. So like this is still an option for sure. And then the last stride we actually play is 2 Krauk. List play 3. Some people play 1 and then 2 of the Diablo stride. I like 2 of this just because, Mega Colony, Narukami, Link Joker, you really want to be keeping your board empty for the most part against those clans, just because, like, you don't want to get stunned under Gridora. The Mega Colony matchup's a little more weird now that they're forced to play more up Tyrannus. So maybe nuking your board every turn isn't the best play, but again, it depends on the matchup, depends on the game state. But just having this is really important. So his ability is you will retire 2 rear guards. Again, this is why I also like the Asur, because his cost is retire 2, which Asur will fulfill with the 1 card. But you retire 2 rear guards. Your opponent chooses 3 of their rear guards and retires them. If they did not retire the 3, then he gets the ability that at the end of the battle he attacked, you counterblast 1, retire 2 more rear guards, and he gets to restand, not losing any drive checks, and gets plus 10k. So really, really good restand, just to be able to just get six cards to hand, and clearing your board is really cool. So I really do like Krauk for that reason. Plus there's some times where you're like, man, I took a lot of early damage because my opponent was hitting a lot of crits early. Maybe I have to drive checks for some heals. That's also the time where like I will stride into him if I already have a pretty healthy ritual count, and like I've seen cards that I needed for my engines. So typically either you will like be first striding Dragobus or Krauk. Unless you've seen all the G guards in the world, then you can just first stride Morfessa and push to kill. But it's very situational and dependent, so I can't give you like a play-by-play for everything. But yeah, that wraps up my strides. And then for G guards, Dark Veil, Soul Blast is the main part of this card for whatever reason if your bike group gets stuck. But also it's not a bad G guard because you get plus 5k for every 2 grade 1s in your drop. So if you have 10, 25, 8, 20, so on and so forth. So really good shield value there, and just being able to get 40, 45k shield is really cool. Dismal, just because there are some times where you need to protect your rear guard. If you're like low or you didn't kill with the Morfessa prior, you have the ability to G-Guard and save the grade 2 promo for your attack extender again. Also, too, I just wanted to play this just to be able to protect stuff and also have another G-Guard, because there's sometimes, too, where, like, you're just recycling cards back to deck and you keep drawing into your heals, and you haven't, like, maxed out your G-Guarding potential yet. So, like, if you can draw 3 heals, but you've already G-Guarded twice, just being able to G-Guard and then double Jelly Dough is also really important. So just for that reason, that's why I'm still playing it, just because you can pump your G-Zone up a little more, just given the ratios of the deck. 1 Bronak. This really helps speed up your ritual count. This is going to look at the top 5 cards, call all grade 1s from that top 5 on the Guardian, and put the rest on the bottom. So this card is really good. Again, just being able to speed up your ritual count, especially if you discarded the Credi Lad for this. Being able to like just already achieve Ritual 3 off 1 G-Guard is pretty cool. If this finds 2 and then you pitch the Credi Lad, you're at Ritual 3 for Luard's free stride ability. So this helps us set that up. So most of the time, this is your first G-Guard, especially if you go first up, but you can just set up Luard's skill. And then 2 of the Deep Griever Dragon. This card puts grade 1s back. If you put 5 back, you can counterblast 1 and make it a perfect guard that doesn't have the Sentinel keyword. So this is low-key how we beat Dimension Police, so that way we don't die to 256k, 5 crit Unibirds. That's going to flip an Eldo Breath at the top of the deck with Linka Guard Restrict. You know what I'm saying? So just, yeah, this card's very helpful in just not dying to DP, but also it can put back 2 if you've, like, if the Bronak milled too many key pieces that still need to be in the deck, this can tuck them back outside of Luard's ability just to shove 2 normal units back to deck too. So just keep that in mind. And then I play 2 Jelly Dough. Jelly Dough is more so here to advance the GB than her actual skill effect, just because you're not going to be having a bunch of scenarios where you have a bunch of like increments of 2 grade 1 rear guards on board to guard with. But one of my favorite plays with Jelly Dough though is, like, if you have access to it, is being able to guard with the Creddy Lad regular, remove the heal, and then target the 2 rear guards to be able to, when they die, they come back to hand, and then Jelly Dough the following swing. And so then I have like a 45k guard, and then both of those cards would come back to my hand, so that way I can use them on the following turn. So just know that that's an option as well. But yeah, that is entirely the G zone. So that's kind of the angle I take. As you guys know, Luard is not a super strong meta contender, but it is a super fun deck to play. So if you have most of these cards at your disposal, or you know your friend has a Shadow Paladin collection, I would definitely recommend trying out this deck. This deck is a lot of fun. It's really toolboxy. It's really reminiscent of Grand Blue prior to the Crest, just so that way, because you're just, you know, going out and looking for all these crazy different lines and combos and just trying to grind out your opponent to force them to that way they're in range to die by Morfessa. So I really have had a ton of fun with this deck playing recently, and I look forward to getting out to BCSs here as we're getting close to the tail end of the Summerfest season, which has been really interesting to see, like, the meta play out. A lot of stuff has been topping that I didn't think would top. Not to say that those decks are bad, but there's I think there's a little bit of a gentleman's agreement that we're not going to be playing all the crazy loot decks this season, but who knows, and we'll see, just because premium is in singles this summer. So we'll definitely see what happens with the fall, and of course with the ban list dropping here very soon, hopefully, at the English conference. But I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. I missed you all so much. I'm so glad to be being back making content, and just showing that you guys that I have still stuff left in the tank, and that mistakes that you make don't necessarily define you, and it's only a chance to grow and learn, and just being able to prove that to you all. So I love you all so much. Take care, keep grinding, like and subscribe if you haven't, trying to get closer to that 2K, and I will catch you all later. Take easy, God bless, and stay safe.